Hadiza, for the past 26 to 27 years that we have been practicing democracy in this country, I have never seen a powerful and a strong political party like APC for the past 4 years. If APC want to do something, they will do it no matter what, no matter how Nigerians are going to disengage themselves from that thing. It was under this APC government that subsidy was withdrawn. And we have been calling the attention of the government to bring back that policy. They have not done anything. We have seen how taxes were being brought out to many Nigerians. People are crying all over.
Do you think we are voicing it out enough? Because I don't think they are hearing Nigerians.
The problem is, once if you fail to participate in politics, you may end up being governed by your inferior. That is the true picture of what we are seeing. It is expected that in a democratic system of government, people have the voice to call the attention of their leaders. And once if the attention of their leaders are being brought to book, at least we are expected that maybe they should do anything. But tell me, you're a journalist, you know many policies that were being brought by this current administration of APC, which Nigerians lament on that policy that they are hitting Nigerians. Nigerians have been calling the attention of the government to reverse that policy, but there's nowhere to be found. After all, we see that when a lot of taxes were implemented, a lot of subsidy were removed in this current administration. Why? Well, is that the democracy we have been reading while we are in school?
Let's move on to the next question. With aspirants battling in at least 8 states, should Nigerians be worried about increasing political tensions and possible violence ahead of 2027? Because, I mean, it's looking like we are heading there already.
Let me tell you something. Elections have never been free, fair, credible, and acceptable country in Nigeria. We can either have the violence election, or, we have post-election violence. So Nigerians should just try and have a way of minimizing themselves, because violence is going to erupt. I'm not a messiah of pessimism. I'm a messiah of optimism, but I truly believe that after this party primary, currently the APC primary is going on, the governorship primary is going on. So after today, maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow, you will see a lot of conflict, a lot of disagreement among the aspirants. We have seen what is currently going on in Nasarawa State. Governor Abdullahi Sule is backing Senator Wadada, while Governor Tanko Almakura, former Governor Tanko Almakura, is currently backing former IGP Mohamed Adamu. This is a conflict that is currently going on, and this is just a faction of
the APC in the national state.
Currently, Gombe State, they're having their own squabble between Isa Ali Pantami and Jamilu Gomna.
But he has withdrawn.
Does not matter. Maybe he's just trying to kind of to think outside the box. He has not made it clear that I'm not going to contest, but rather he said that he has withdrawn from that race. And let's go to Kwara State. Governor Abdurrazak have anointed one Ambassador Sereki, and people of that party are saying, no, we don't want this thing.
So are you trying to say, even with the consensus coming from the godfathers in the political parties,
there has never been consensus, Hadiza. Those are all what Nigerians are calling as coronation.
Oh, well, moving on to the next paper. This is coming from The Punch, and it says, political thuggery killing Nigerian democracy. Concerns are mounting that over the rising wave of political violence and thuggery in Nigerian politics as it is, and stakeholders warn that intimidation, electoral violence, and manipulations are threatening the nation's democratic system and process. Abubakar, let's have your take on this briefly before I throw my question. What do you think?
Hadiza, I told you we have never find it easy whenever it is election period. Excuse me. Whenever it's election period, we have seen many states how those political attacks were being glorified. Recently, what happened? In Kano we call them Endaba or Ensara Suka. In places like Gombe we call them Enkalare. Here in Abuja, we call them Agberu. These are all people that are perpetuating this political thuggery. And at the tail end, if those their own political godfathers were able to win the ticket, by virtue of hook, like, and sinker, that is by virtue of free, fair, and credible election, or by virtue of manipulation, rigging, intimidation, and ballot snatching, at the tail end, they will know where to be found, despite the fact that they have injured a lot of innocent Nigerians and at the detriment of some individual at no cost. Some videos that has been going on viral, I think in Kano, is it day before yesterday? I saw a situation whereby young, agile Nigerians were going around with axe, machete, cutlass, moving around the street, trying to intimidate people, all in the name of election, with the audacity. Even if you tell them that if they come here, they will just loot, reloot, and even if care is not taken, they may likely rape or take advantage of women and girls. We are all doing this thing because of democracy or because of election. Is it not high time for us to abolish the democratic system and come back to our own previous system of administration during the time of Damfodio? Which was the traditional rulers, the traditional system.
And you think that the traditional system is not going to be influenced in any way?
They are very, very powerful. If we can go back to the 19th century when Usman Danfodio was all over northern part of the country, and even before the coming of colonialism, we have seen how our own traditional rulers were powerful. They were able to bring a lot of developments to the progress and development of this country. Since 1999, when we come back to this democracy, there has never been a kind of an election-free period.
So now,
look at what happened in 2011 post-election violence. How Nigerians suffer. So, it was 2015 got so kind when former President Jonathan was he considered defeat and congratulated the late president. And now affair, it is the election that is going to take place between the North, because if you say South, you are referring to President Tinubu. If you say not, why you are referring to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, which all of them are so adamant to be in the villa in 2027.
Like I said, we have stakeholders who are actually calling for cautiousness as regards this political thuggery. So how has this act weakened our political system?
Because everybody is afraid to come out and even contest. Somebody of high caliber, credibility, who is the right man for the job will not be able to have the audacity and say that, well, I want to represent you. If he do that, we may think of intimidation. His family will be intimidated, his properties will be intimidated, and even his life is at jeopardy. Is this the democracy we are calling for? But rather, please, before we go, I have a solution to that.
Which is?
As long as any political tag that is being apprehended, he must have a political godfather. We should have a thorough investigation. Who is that sponsored them to do that? Let them ban them from politics for 100 years.
And you know, most of these political godfather you're talking about are people who are untouchable.
It does not matter as long as our judiciary will continue to be credible. We have seen recently what they sentenced the former Minister of Power into 75 years imprisonment, which that judgment have actually favored many Nigerians. If at least judges, our judicial system will be more strong enough to at least do something that will not even favor those that are in the helm of the affairs of government, I swear to Almighty Allah, Nigeria will be great. We are living in a situation whereby in a country where we have strong individual and weak institution, let the reverse be the case. Let us try and start living in a country where we have strong institution and weak individual. Go to America and see. Are you telling me that American politicians are not corrupt? They are all corrupt, but rather they are actually of the system. What is going to happen in the system?
Well, let me ask you our last question. From our second headlines, which is coming from Punch. Let me ask you the last question that is coming from that front page headlines. And aside from you saying you should point out his political godfather, what are the practical steps that that political parties, security agencies, and INEC can take in order to curb this situation?
You know, like sometimes eradicating such a menace is a collective responsibility from the judiciary, from the INEC, and even from our own religious leaders. And even from yourself, and even from your own parents. Because I doubt if there is any responsible Nigerian that has parental mentorship or that has parental guidance will at least go out and at least kill in the name of politics.
But most of them, if you check their background, if you check how they are, I'm not trying to stereotype. I'm not trying to. Majority of them, some of them actually do not have the education, and some of them are always under the influence. When you
drugs.
give them, you give them cheap drugs. You give them cheap drugs. As cheap as it is, and it will make them exhibit whatever they want to do.
But
But
the truth of the matter, we have to acknowledge the fact that what General Buba Marwa is doing, the boss of NDLA, ever since he was appointed, he have been fighting that
to crack down
proliferation in our own society. So at least if you can have a kind of like unanimous effort, joint effort from religious scholars, because no matter what, the word of the Almighty that created, at least it has very impact in our own soul. The religious leaders will do, INEC will do their own by banning any kind of politician that find guilty in perpetuating that. 100 years, he will not be in the political system.
Is that going to work in Nigeria?
It is possible. That is why I'm advocating for strong institution rather than strong individual. INEC will do their own part. Parents will also do their own part. Government itself will do their own part by at least providing more orientation and more educational soft landing that people go to school and see that so that they can compete with their own people. Because if I could remember one political scientist, I forgot his name, he said that if you really want to at least emasculate any kind of society, deprive them from education, because it's only when you have the education that you will know that this is my political godfather that have been giving me some token amount of money to perpetuate some crime on his behalf. If I go to school, I equip myself with the necessary things, the necessary gadget, the necessary wherewithal, and the necessary mentorship, I will come back and compute.
Abubakar, why are you talking as if you don't know what it means to be called a loyalist? You would not want to even think about any other thing aside the person you're serving.
Hadiza, do you know what of the major consequences of being a blind loyalist?
What is?
You will one day find yourself in a grave.
They don't care.
Well, they will pay the consequences.
So now, as individuals, as individuals, what do you have to say to them? That's for the talks.
Let them remember what they are acceptable is unconstitutionally, is not acceptable in any of the religion. Those people that you are doing this, Switzerland, Singapore, Mexico, Thailand, and Malaysia.
And most of the people, they are lazy. I would say, when I say lazy, I don't mean about hard work or something. When I say lazy, I mean lazy when it comes to thinking. So when you don't think and you just sit and people give you peanuts, what do you expect?
Please permit me to borrow from what Hausa people said. Karembana shike maganin zomon bana. There will be a time when we have seen recently the son of the former president, which is Buhari, he's now joining the political system.
Yeah.
The son of the former governor of Kaduna State, he's now in the political system. And the son president, which is Olusegun, they are now joining. There will be a when the children of the masses and the children of the elite will be computing. Please do not misquote me. There will be a legal revolution in the next 100 years in all those people that have brilliant progress and development. Nigeria will be great.
Why do we have to wait 100 years? Because our children will come behind us and be like, we failed them.
Change is a gradual process.
Destruction
can happen within a blink of an eye. If you ask me to dismantle this studio, within 5 minutes I will dismantle it. But if you ask me to put everything into order, it can take me 3 days.
Actually, I agree with you on that. Well, Nigeria, our country.
Well, we should keep on praying for our country. Nigeria will be great.
To get better. To get better, Abubakar, to get better. Calm down. Well, like Abubakar said, think for yourself. For politics, say no. That's it on Newspaper Review today. Up next is our S24 report coming to you after the break.
In Cocody, a busy district of Abidjan, basketball is more than a game. It is a language of discipline, identity, and hope for young women learning to navigate life beyond the court. At the center of this movement is Patricia Lorongnon, a former international basketball player who dedicates her life to shaping the next generation of girls through sport. For her, it is education, dialogue, and socialness.
Dans les camps, on arrive à débattre sur des faits de société, la sexualité.
In the camps, where it was social issues such as hygiene, sexuality in school and sport environment, abortion, and others.
Donc, c'est-à-dire les métiers du
There are also coaching trainings and referee trainings, meaning different professions within sports. These camps allow young girls to see sports differently, especially basketball.
En particulier, puisque nous, c'est le basket autrement.
On this court, training goes beyond physical performance. It becomes a space where young women learn to think, speak, and imagine futures that once felt out of reach. Every shot taken here carries more than points. It carries possibility.
À travers ces jeunes filles, je vois
Through these young girls, I see the influence of Ivorian basketball, African basketball, and women basketball worldwide, because it is about the cause of women. It is wonderful to see them, to guide them, to train them, and advise both in sports and in social life.
c'est plaisant d'être à côté de ces jeunes filles.
Patricia's journey as a former player now lives on through those she trains. Her legacy is not in trophies alone, but in the confidence she builds in others. She sees herself reflected in every dribble, every sprint, every young athlete refusing to give up.
On a beaucoup de jeunes filles qui viennent maintenant.
Today, we have many girls coming, but before it was difficult. It was difficult because there were cultural barriers and social barriers. When we talk about young girls, we understand what that means. Some have to take care of the household before coming to train. Others hide because they have to wear shorts or sports equipment. In general, sports equipment is not always adapted to their religion, so there were many small obstacles.
Donc, il y avait pas mal de petites choses.
For players like Habiba Shangari, Patricia is more than a coach. She is what is possible. In Patricia's story, Habiba sees her own future and responsibility to continue the journey.
Elle est l'une des rares femmes qui a vraiment...
She is one of the few women who played basketball in Cote d'Ivoire and continued even after she stopped playing. She continued through her example, a great example. It is an honor for me to be part of her close circle. To be like her means continuing the work she started and passing it on to the future generations.
Et pourquoi pas transmettre.
But the road to the court is not simple. For many girls, sports competes with cultural expectations, household duties, and limited resources. Some girls arrive late after household chores. Others struggle with uniforms that conflict with social or religious expectations. Beyond social barriers lies another challenge: resources. Without infrastructure, talent risks going unseen and dreams risk fading before they begin. Yet, despite this challenge, it is not just a basketball program, it is a community of resilience.
Si on veut réussir, il faut vraiment encourager.
If you want to succeed, we must really encourage this type of activity so that girls can get into sport, because it is difficult, very difficult, when you assess the situation in Abidjan, especially in Cocody. There are no resources, there are no shoes, no balls, no courts. If we can organize and support this type of activity, I believe more girls will become interested in basketball.
On this court in Cocody, basketball becomes more than sport. It becomes education, resistance, and identity. For these young women, every bounce of the ball is a step forward, not just in basketball, but in life.
Welcome back from that break, and this is Political Arena on S24 Television. I am your host, Abubakar Traki. This afternoon, we will be speaking about the continuous detention of Nasir El-Rufai, the former Kaduna State governor. To many Nigerians are articulating, is detention of Nasir El-Rufai a fight against corruption, or it is just purely politics from the ruling party? This afternoon, I am joined by a political scientist to help us understand the scenario behind the detention of Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai. Cliff Starley, welcome to Political Arena on S24 Television.
Thank you for having me, Abubakar.
And as a political scientist, what is your take on the continuous detention of former governor of Kaduna State? Is it political, or it is just the anti-graft agents are trying to fight corruption?
For me, I think it's political, purely. What has transpired even before the administration in 2023.
On board.
Play very making sure they galvanize interest from the governors from the northern part. Because prior to that, you have a scenario whereby there's a belief that a consensus that it is the Ahmed Lawal during the times of Abdullahi Adamu being the chairman, Nasarawa being the party, that this is the consensus candidate that makes the present president to boast in Ogun that he was the one that...
He was even chanting
Emilokon, that this is his own time. And we can see, even when with that, people like Malam Nasir El-Rufai have come out plainly to speak against what the consensus and what even the cabal in Buhari regimes wants to bring. And we can see clearly, he told Mr. President that he wants to go back and study and finish his study. And Mr. President said, no, that I'm going to need you in my administration. So we can see when he was penciled down for ministerial, we can see how it was blocked and he was not be able to get only political. But with some of the interview he granted when he came back, we can see how they intend to arrest him when he came back to Nigeria in the airport, how a lot of people came to protest, and how he went to the court and by the great agency, and he was arrested. So you can purely see that, and politically, the person that they're using the governor of his state. We can see how Shehu Sani, one senator on the central, that El-Rufai played a role for him to be emerged as the senator of Kaduna Central, and at the same time make him a successor to his regime, and at the same time with his deputy governor Adiza Bala to become to become the deputy governor. So you can see it is political. There are people that felt that the likes of Nasir El-Rufai being in the executive arm of government, because you have already worked for him to be in the power sector, you have engaged with other people. So, and there are a lot of power that be in the present regime that are not comfortable with Nasir El-Rufai being in the government. So you mean the presence of Nasir El-Rufai is a threat to the ruling party, despite the fact that he comes to the major opposition party now? It's a threat. You may not like him. You may not take away from him that this is somebody that has played a very vital role in making sure that APC came to board in 2013. And this is somebody that is a strategy. This is somebody that can network. This is somebody that can be able to go out to get. You may not like him, but you cannot take away that from him. So the ruling party understand that now that he has gone to the ADC, he is going to be... These are people that have helped the APC to win the elections. These are people that knows the workings of the APC. So for somebody like him to be around going freely is a threat for the governing party. Okay, so we have seen yesterday his family were crying out about his continuous detention. Is there any constitutional right to keep him for that long? Yeah, if you look at what the Constitution says, it would not be more than 24 hours. But we've seen how Nigerian agency, more especially the security agency, go against what is expected of the Constitution. We've seen a situation whereby court will now grant bail to somebody when he's going out, and the security agency will come arrest him, either the EFCC or either the DSS. So to some certain extent, they don't follow the rule of law when it comes to some of these things. So we find a situation whereby, okay, where did they get the permit that they were granted to him when he lost his mother and he went for the burial? If not follow the constitutional, who gave the order? So you can see that to some certain extent, this is somebody that was kept there because him being outside, having interviews, having meetings, bringing strategy to the opposition will be something detrimental to the governing party. So his family is coming out to say that if it is somebody that you want, can you go to the court? If the court finds him, let's do the necessary thing and let us know. But you find out that the continuous decision of his psychologically, and at the same time, this is we are approaching 2027 election. So almost everything that is happening, those that are in government will not agree, but you know that he has to do his decision, he has to do 2027 elections.
So does that mean no matter the mighty allegation you have, if you are in the ruling party, you are safe? Because to Nigerians, that there has been an allegation against former governor of Kano State, former governor of Kogi State, but they are still in the ruling party. Is it that they are trying to save Nasir El-Rufai as a scapegoat? Or does that mean once if you decamp, they will follow you?
Yeah, for sure.
So what is this thing sending to our own democracy? Is it that Nigeria is heading toward one-party dominance?
Yeah, what we are seeing, Nigeria is going to be very difficult for us to operate a one-party system in Nigeria. People will like to use the political party to shelf for their own interests because a chairman, Adam Osemule, when he was a chairman of the All Progressive Congress, he says that if you are in other political party and you join us in our political party, all your sins have been forgiven. Yeah, I agree with him to that because we've seen almost all the politicians, almost all the governors they're seeing and the senators and most of the people that you're seeing going back to the APC for them to secure their political interests and for them to secure themselves from the anti-graft agency. Because we've seen most people that have left the party or those people that have refused to join the party or refuse to agree to what is happening in the political party, the anti-graft agency is going after them. We can see after Malami left, we've seen what is happening with
Professor Osman
Yusuf, we've seen what is happening to El-Rufai. Recently, we're seeing what we're seeing what is happening with Sadia. These are people. This is somebody that her husband contested for governor in Bauchi State, and she's been part of. And some of these people earlier on, in one of your sisters' program, we're saying that even the APC you have block. These are blocks that are close to the CPC blocks that march into the APC. So people are leaving the party, and if they leave the party, so you are no longer in the party, your sin has not been forgiven, so your file has to be dig, and so that the issues you have, the graft agency will go after you.
My next question, please. Should public office holders be investigated regardless of political party affiliation?
Yeah, they should be, because except when you have the immunity as a executive, when you have the immunity. But after we've seen in previous executives after leaving, we've seen Fayoshe after leaving the EFCC invited Ogoje, EFCC invited him and others. They can go ahead and investigate some of this public in respect of our political party. But the situation whereby the instrumentality of state is unleashed on somebody that left the political party. When he is in the political party, he is safe and he left. That's why most of the political parties now, or most of the other opposition party goes to the national party so that their sins will be forgiven. Because most of the governors that you see that left the political parties, either the Labour, either the PDP, when they started, around 13 of them. And how many of them do you have now? I think they only have 2. Bala Mohammed and Sheikh Makinde. These are the 2 people you have in PDP. All of them have decamped to political party, which is the APC. And we've seen the shenanigans of some of the party, like somebody saying that is in the PDP and working for PDP, and you are having a coalition of political party in the state that we are seeing. So these are things that are not expected in political
Before we call it, Eddie, we're heading toward 2027 general elections. In a nutshell, what are your call to young Nigerians out there?
My call to young Nigerians there is for them to register, for them to be able to follow up what the political parties are saying and the candidates. Because I believe the 2027 election will not be based on, be strictly based on party ideologies. People will have to look at people you feel that they're good enough to be able to protect interests of young people. Yeah, you look at meritocracy, that's what I'm saying, because somebody decided to vote for either a president in any of the party. I don't want to campaign for any party because I'm not. You choose your party A, and the president and the governor party C, and
it can be uniform.
You cannot be uniform and say this is a party, because you've seen a situation whereby consensus candidates are just brought as a result of interest of the governors and the presidents to choose certain candidate for the people, while it is the sole responsibility of the people to choose their representative at the House of Assembly and the House of Representatives and the Senate and even their governor and the president. So the people should be able to choose for leaders that can be able to better the lives of ordinary Nigerians.
Thank you so much, Cliff. It's a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure coming to S24.
And that is all what we have on S24 Political Arena. Stay tuned for our S24 Day commentary. Thank you.
I know when we first connected, it was around sort of cyber security and stuff, but I know that, with your business, self-employed, you're a software developer and you do mobile apps. And first get involved in cyber security, or how did it become a subject that you thought to yourself, this is an opportunity for me as an entrepreneur to be involved in?
I mean, absolutely. I consider myself as a creative person. It was very difficult for me to get mastered into one thing because I'm diversified, considering that I am an entrepreneur. Most clients have different needs I have to be able to fit in, right? So I build softwares, web apps, basically, and mobile apps as well. The thing that really to go into cybersecurity, because first of all, I used to think cybersecurity was one very big. So, it was just so big for me to understand. But then I built a web app for a client. And after a couple of months, I started, the client reached out to me that, he doesn't know what is wrong with his website. And I went there and I tried to, go through this control panel and all those technical things that I could go through. And I discovered that it was hacked. And it just got to me like, once you do something and if you do something vulnerable and clients and they can't rely on you anymore, people will not want to, trust you for anything, especially when they are building something that is secure, right? So I had to go into cybersecurity to grind myself in the basics and even the essentials and the advanced knowledge of cybersecurity, so I can build softwares that are completely bulletproof.
So if I put myself in the mind of a member of the public out on the street, we hear about, change your password, update your password, don't give your password out, don't share your password with your work colleague, and we kind of think of, we've been hacked on Facebook or these kind of things, and we assume that apps and technology that we use is inherently secure. And we kind of put the onus onto the producer of it, as opposed to doing the little bit that we can with our secure password. Do you think that is a good definition of what cybersecurity is, or do you think it's so much more complex?
I mean, cybersecurity, there is roles that users have to play in securing their data as regards to their passwords and everything they have. And there's also the role that corporation has to play in securing the data of users, right? Cybersecurity generally is just to prevent unauthorized attackers to gain unauthorized access to software and application or data, right? So
particularly human information like addresses.
Exactly. Sensitive information.
Sensitive information.
Absolutely. So, the corporate world has their own role to play because they are different type of attacker, especially now that this AI thing has taken over, but the human being, because one of the vulnerable parts of cybersecurity, when it comes to cybersecurity rather, because cybersecurity is like the good guys, so to speak, then, hackers are like the bad guys. Cybersecurity engineers can hack, but they prevent other hackers from gaining unauthorized access to sensitive information, right? But as the user, as a person, the weakest link in cybersecurity is the user, is the person. The computer is programmed to do what it's supposed to do. But then if the user does not have a basic understanding on how to secure his data, the user is the weakest link. There are things like social engineering. They may not necessarily have an unauthorized access except you give them the access. That is where the cybersecurity thing goes beyond just the corporations, the producers of the application, and the users, because the users are the weakest link. Without you knowing, you can give an attacker access to your sensitive information without them needing to really break any special thing per se, if that makes sense. So yes, I would say that the users have a role to play as well as the corporations.
Sort of responsibility to.
We have all responsibilities. We have a responsibility to understand some basic cybersecurity knowledge to prevent attackers from gaining access to our information. Let's take, for example, my bank application, right? That has the logins, they have the corporation has set security protocols, verify that it is you that is gaining access to your information, right? And you receive an email, for example. It doesn't necessarily need to be an email. There's so many ways attackers can get access to you. But let's just say your email, because that's easily gotten. And he sends a link to you from your bank that you need to update, maybe like just a quick update. And you go into you click the link and you follow the procedures. While you are following those procedures, and you see the exact website, like your bank website, and you just keep putting your sensitive information. They ask you for your date of birth. They ask you for, like in Nigeria, your BVN, your NIN, your security questions, and you keep answering them. You are single-handedly handing over your information to the attackers.
Writing it down and just giving, you're even typing it.
Exactly. Without them even needing to worry, just by one email. If you have a security understanding, just by the email, there are things that you need to check as a user. As a user, there are things you need to check to make sure that this email was actually from your bank. And once you find out it is not from your bank, you do not click on those emails. So those basic information here and there will really help users, especially.
So not rush into action too quickly, kind of take your time to think about, is it from who I think it's, or who it alludes to be? Is it actually from them?
Yeah.
So maybe it's rather than speed to answer the questions, it's more looking about.
Honestly.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, coming from the UK, or I should imagine anywhere in the global north, Nigerian scammers are a thing, and they've been a thing for many years. People scamming you, and it's very famous, and and it's a bit difficult actually, and quite harsh. Particularly working here. This is my fourth time to Nigeria. I was here 20 years ago, and I've been August and November when we met, and then back again. I get quite defensive when I talk to people that I work in Nigeria, and I'm like, "Oh, what's it like? Have you met a scammer?" As if they wear, I'm a Nigerian scammer on the t-shirt and walk around. And I think I met so many hardworking, clever, intelligent Nigerians of all ages. And this one group of people has kind of tarnished that reputation for entrepreneurship and stuff, particularly for young people the size of the population. And I'm wondering, is something like online scamming, those things that they were quite famous for, is that still a thing? Or is it now seen as cybersecurity because it's a similar kind of approach that they had before we had
online scammers virtually everywhere in the world? Nigeria just happens to be.
They were first. They seemed to own it at the beginning.
You mean like Nigerians, right?
Yeah.
Well, there are other countries as well that talk that are into online scams. Even the United States as well. I
think it was just made into a media story.
Yeah,
it was easy to make it into
people
a
just
media
story. Stereotyping Nigeria for all the bad things. But we're amazing, like you said. We have amazing talent, and I think that there's the talents that are in Nigeria are incredible. Because there are no lots of jobs, people try to take advantage of the ignorance of people, and it's a general thing basically, and as well security as well. Anything you do not know, people tend to take advantage of you. So cybersecurity basically is, like you said, unless it evolves as human being evolves, right? So once new information, the cybersecurity team, the architecture, the policy as well, and say, look, this is a new threat. We need to start putting measures to protect people that are naive.
Hello and welcome to Tech World Updates, where we discuss technology, innovation, and digital world. I am Aisha Muhammad. Here's what's shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. We begin in Nigeria as its digital economy agenda continues to expand on regulation, infrastructure, and artificial intelligence. Vice President Kashim Shettima says regulatory technology is now becoming a key driver of financial inclusion and economic transformation in Nigeria. Speaking at the Rich Tech African Expo, the Vice President explained that government is building clearer digital regulations aimed at creating a safer and more trusted technology ecosystem for businesses and financial innovation. Other stakeholders says regulatory technology, also known as red tech, is increasingly becoming essential as fintech platforms and digital financial services continue to grow across Africa. And as financial technology evolves, Nigeria's broader telecom ecosystem is also undergoing strategic review. The Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy has begun a major telecom policy review designed to bridge Nigeria's digital divide and improve public service delivery nationwide. Officials say the review will focus on connectivity expansion, infrastructure access, and improving digital inclusion, particularly in underserved communities. Meanwhile, Nigeria's data infrastructure capacity is receiving a significant boost. Kasi Cloud has officially commissioned the first phase of its 100-megawatt AI-ready hyperscale data center in Lagos. The facility is expected to increase local computing power for artificial intelligence operations, cloud services, workloads. Technology experts say the development in Nigeria's ambition to becoming a leading digital infrastructure hub in Africa. And beyond infrastructure, the push for innovation is also expanding into regional technology ecosystems. TechNexus and the Niger Delta Development Commission have announced the Port Harcourt Tech Expo 2026, expected to showcase emerging startups, innovators, and digital entrepreneurs from across the region. And at the same time, the federal government has commenced the rollout of its 30 billion naira nationwide AI-powered innovation hub initiative beginning from the University of Lagos. The project is expected to support research, startup incubation, and youth-driven technological innovations. Still on artificial intelligence, Anambra State is positioning itself at the forefront of digital governance in Nigeria. The Anambra State ICT Agency has unveiled plans to transform the state into Nigeria's first AI-native government institution by integrating artificial intelligence directly into governance and administrative systems. Experts say the initiative reflects how subnational governments are increasingly embracing AI-powered public administration. And in another major development focused on inclusion within the tech industry, MTN Nigeria has partnered with Digital Encode to launch a mentorship initiative aimed at developing the next generation of female technology leaders. The program is expected to provide mentorship, cybersecurity exposure, and leadership opportunities for young women entering the digital space. Across Africa, institutional investment in technology continues to gain momentum. The African Finance Corporation has committed $100 million to Africa-focused technology fund managers as part of efforts to close the continent's venture capital. The investments will support technology-focused funds, including Africa Fund 2 and Future African Fund 3. Financial analysts say the move reflects growing confidence in locally driven African innovation ecosystems. Meanwhile, experts at the African Technology Expo says Africa's digital future will depend heavily on hybrid infrastructure models. Industry leaders argue that combining local cloud systems, AI-powered network tools, and managing connectivity solutions will be critical to maintaining operational control and digital sovereignty across the continent. Now to the global technology landscape, where companies are confronting the reality of AI integration. Microsoft 2026 Work Trend Index warns that many global organizations are now facing what it describes as an AI implementation gap. The report suggests businesses are moving beyond simple and are now struggling with how to restructure workforce, employee roles, and productivity systems around artificial intelligence. And finally, cybersecurity giant Kaspersky has launched an interactive cybersecurity education initiative in Dubai, using gamified experiences to teach children and young users about online safety and digital privacy. Stakeholders at the event says the initiative reflects a growing global trend towards using immersive technology and gaming techniques to improve cybersecurity awareness from an early stage. And that's it on Tech World Update, where innovation meets impact and the future stays in focus. Stay with us as after the break, Khadija Muhammad is on standby with entertainment updates. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back from the break. You're now tuned into your entertainment update for today. I'm Khadija Muhammad, and if today's news had a playlist, it will be titled Drama, Fashion, and a little bit of shock. Because honestly, entertainment is not relaxing anyone this week. So let's get straight into it. And first up, Period Talks has entered premium pricing mode. The Nollywood actress Mercy Johnson Okoji and her daughter Purity are trending after promoting Girls Talk, a 25,000 naira all-in-one period kit for girls aged 9 and above. The kits include pads, wipes, liners, and pouch, disposal bags, and an educational guidebook. While the idea is meant to support menstrual hygiene, the price has sparked serious online backlash. Critics argue it is too expensive for many Nigerian families, especially with minimum wages, while supporters say it's practical start. And just like that, even sanitary pad denied allegation by his ex-wife, rejected abuse and financial misconduct in the detail 5%. He insisted he would allow the courts to handle the matter, apologized to those affected by the online fallout, and emphasized that his main focus remains now on his children. And the situation, which resurfaced nearly 2 years after their divorce, has split public opinion, with some praising his calm response while others are calling for both parties to step away from public exchange. In short, if you ask me, this is no longer a breakup. It's actually a full documentary series. But then, let's move on. And now from relationship courtroom to award show headliners where nobody is arguing, just competing. The 2026 BET Award has dropped its nomination and the competition is already fierce. Cardi B leads with 6 nominations, followed closely by Kendrick Lamar and Maria are the scientists. The awards also introduced new categories like the Fashion Vanguard Award and Pulse Award, focusing on style and digital influence. And also, African stars also showed strong presence with terms Wizkid and Asake all earning nomination. So yes, fashion, fame, and fan wars are officially loading. And finally, let's take a quick cultural trip with no passport needed. In Indonesia, especially South Kalimantan, there's a century-old tradition of floating markets where trade happens entirely on rivers. Vendors in wooden boats sell fruits, vegetables, and handmade goods while floating side by side, negotiating prices directly on water. And most of these traders are women, continuing a tradition passed down for generations. And the market still starts at sunrise, turning the river into a moving, colorful exchange of culture and livelihood. Honestly, you can imagine your Uber being in a canoe and your shopping mall being in a river, right? But then, I think you should better stop imagining now. After today's entertainment of BET nomination and floating rivers market today prove one. States might just be even more dramatic. Coming up next is Sport News with Steven after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back from that break. European glory, heavyweight boxing drama, and Nigerian stars making headlines around the world. From Aston Villa's historic triumph to Victor Osimhen meeting the Turkish president. Here's your latest sports updates. We begin in Europe, where Aston Villa produced a dominant display to defeat SC Freiburg 3-0 and lift the UEFA European League trophy. Manager Unai Emery once again proved why he is regarded as one of the masters of the European competition, guiding Villa to their first major European title in decades. From the opening whistle, Villa controlled the game with intense pressing and quick attacking football, leaving Freiburg struggling to respond. The first half goals gave the English side complete control before a late third goal sparked wild celebration among the travelling supporters. The victory caps off a remarkable campaign for Aston Villa and marks a historic night for the club. Still in football, major controversy continues in the English Championship after Southampton lost their appeal against expulsion from the promotion playoffs. The ruling means the final between Hull City and Middlesbrough will go ahead this weekend with a place in the Premier League at stake. Southampton described the decision as extremely disappointing, while Hull City also expressed frustration over the disruption caused by the controversy. The case has become one of the biggest talking points in English football heading into the weekend. Over to boxing now. The war of words between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is already eating up ahead of their blockbuster showdown this year. Fury says he is confident of knocking Joshua out, claiming his rival does not have the chin to fight against him. The long-awaited all-British heavyweight clash is expected to take place at Wembley Stadium and could become one of the biggest boxing events in recent history. Back home, Nigeria will once again host the ICC Men's T20 World Cup's Africa Sub-Regional C qualifiers later this year. The tournament will take place in Abuja from October 18 to 25th, with 6 countries battling for qualification to the regional finals. The Yellow Greens will be hoping to use home advantage to secure another strong campaign after winning the hosted in Nigeria. And finally, Victor Osimhen and his Galatasaray teammates were welcomed by Turkish president after winning the Turkish Super League title. Osimhen played a key role in title-winning season, scoring crucial goals and helping Galatasaray secure another league crown. The Nigeria striker continues to attract interest in top European clubs, including Chelsea, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich. But for now, celebration continues in Turkey after another memorable campaign. And that's your sports updates, where champions rise, rivalries intensify, and Nigeria stars continue to shine on global stage. Coming up next is PG News.
Good afternoon, Nigeria people. Una tori madam don't bring day top of the chart. We go begin for Ebola. We don't they give us signal for Nigeria. All international airports for Nigeria don't start to double check anybody where they enter the country. The people where they control airports, FAAN and CAA, plus the NCDC, don't make this decision together because of Ebola virus. We don't they catch plenty people for Central Africa. They never still see any single person will get Ebola for inside Nigeria, but government don't tell pilots and airlines say make they report any sick person for inside aeroplane before they even land. Insecurity don't be again. Plenty big groups for northern Nigeria, including Arewa consultative leaders, don't hold emergency meeting for Kaduna. They give federal warning say the way banditry and kidnapping take they go up for north done too much. And the old way where they take handle security, they work again. They demand say make government change the law, make government do what they call restructuring, so that individual states will get power to set up their own state police. Big peaceful protest for everywhere inside north. For drug matter, NDLEA they try do their best as they don't go boss one big factory where they clear heavy drug for forest. The drug law enforcement don't scatter one dangerous international group where they cook and sell hard drugs will be ice. With you able to call methamphetamine. The NDLEA operatives do heavy operation for 48 hours inside Lagos and Ogun State, and how they go discover one secret farm inside Abidjan forest for Egypt. Group where Nigeria and Mexican people say now the specialists where they cook the drug, they catch inside the forest. The main boss, 6 Nigerians and 3 Mexican citizens. Kano government don't claim say Rabiu Kwankwaso and Tinubu they arrange secret deal. The state government they talk say Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu they do underground agenda. This talk starts because Kwankwaso pulled out from one national position for this party small time ago. But Kwankwaso people, the Kwankwasia movement, don't talk say na lie. Say the Kano government don't want make people hate Kwankwaso. They argue say Kwankwaso still remain the main leader for opposition politics. And the massive crowd wey show up in recent rally for Kano show say it no need anybody pass like that again. Meanwhile, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, don't release 279 UTME results where they've been locked down before. Because they suspect say the students do exam malpractice. JAMB don't set up committee to investigate the matter properly. After they check everything, they see say these 279 candidates, their hand clean. They no join hand for any technical or biometric magomago. They can't talk say they no go tolerate any form of malpractice. For international gist, the government of China don't block one top American defense officer, Elbridge Colby, who supposed visit Beijing this summer. China talks say they no go allow any Pentagon official enter their country until America change mind about the $14 billion weapons package where they want sell give Taiwan. China they vex say Taiwan are part of their country, so if America sell missiles and war machine to Taiwan, now insult it will be to China ground. This matter don't put US President Donald Trump for tight corner because in they try arrange peace with China president before him go visit America later this year. America wants make they talk so that fight no go boss. China they
Thank you, Sidika, for that version of our Pidgin News, and which brings us to the end of S24 Rundown. Do join us tomorrow, same time, as you follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television. My name is Hadiza Galadima. See you tomorrow.